All right, so this video is focused on how to set up nutrition, how I would suggest nutrition. I'm not a registered dietitian by any means, but I've learned from a lot of them, and these are things I know that work and things that we can always add into our nutrition systems. So the first things first, when we're thinking about nutrition, we should focus on making sure we're getting our macronutrients in. The macro just meaning the big pieces, so proteins, carbs, and fats. I like to always do it in that order. Protein first. That's going to help build muscle. That's going to help with recovery. That's going to help with staying full. That is going to make sure that we can build muscle as optimal as possible. The nice thing about protein too is if we overeat it, what's going to happen is we're more than likely going to use that protein to help build more muscle. Now, my suggestion for you is per every meal, I would like to see 25 grams plus. And if that's going to be an easy number to hit, generally for guys, especially as we're starting off. So if we're looking at, say, 150 pounds body weight, I would like 150 grams of protein for a person like that. Now we can go less, we can go more. It's just a starting point, but I always like to err on the side of where you're at. Now, if we're a bigger person trying to lose weight, we can go a little bit lighter. So say if you're 200 pounds and you're trying to get down to 170, shoot for at least 170. Now, if you're going higher, that's fine. Now, when it comes to carbohydrate, we want enough carbohydrates in our meals just to make sure that we are getting enough for output when it comes into working in the gym, and then enough to make sure that we're cognitively able to function. So that's going to look like anywhere, everyone's all over the place. So I tend to pull, I think, what is it? About 40%, 40 to 30% from carbohydrate sources. And the last thing is fats. Fats help with hormone regulation and also keeps us full. It's a longer fuel source for it to digest, so it's also very helpful in staying full too. Same with protein. My suggestion with that is it's whatever's left over from your proteins and carbs. So I think it's usually like 30% out of your total daily intake, give or take. Then what we can look on to next is our micronutrients. Micronutrients are just going to be the things that are inside the food that are going to give us vitamins and minerals. So that you can always either supplement that, but I always tell people try to get it best from your food sources, and then we can always add supplements into everything else. The next thing is then how do we split all that across the day? So a suggestion is at least 3 meals a day. I prefer that because then we're less likely to overeat at night. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you can split all that stuff up into equal parts. So whatever, I don't know, say, yeah, there's a lot to that. But like for breakfast, we could do protein, carb, fat. Lunch, protein, carb, fat. Dinner, protein, carb, fat. Divide them out, what have you. And then if I was actually going to look at making a meal plan for someone, which I don't do those because, again, I'm not a registered dietitian, but also you as an adult need to learn how to create your own, your own meal plan. Jeez Louise, sorry. Your own meal plan, so that way you can learn how to do good, better, best practices with your nutrition. So for breakfast, something I've found for most people, myself included, doing it a little bit bigger portion for that. So if we have more breakfast and then a smaller lunch and a smaller dinner, tends to work a little bit better. But we also want to put everything around when we're active too. So if we're going to be working out at night, then we can have a little bit bigger lunch, bigger dinner. And if we're working out in the morning, bigger breakfast, bigger lunch, smaller dinner, something like that. So my suggestion for you is finding stuff that you like to eat and make it easy to make, and consistently you can do that repeatedly every day during the day of the week. And then on the weekends doing the same thing, but if you need to rotate things in and out because you're going out or you're going to do whatever, that's totally fine. So my suggestion to you on that would be finding something good for breakfast that you can do consistently, like Greek yogurt, fruit, oats, things like that. Lunch, generally, you could do chicken, you could do beef, steak, pork. You can, it just needs to be leaner cuts. I don't generally suggest deli meats because of all the stuff that's in them. Now, if you're getting from a good butcher and a good source, a-okay. Dinner, same thing, good protein sources. Now, for carbohydrates, we can always choose potatoes, different types of rices, quinoa, all these different things that make us full. And with fats, we can either, I generally am not a big fat person, so if I'm gonna add fats, it's gonna come from like natural peanut butters, natural nut butters. We can do olive oil, we can do macadamia nut oil, that's a really good one. We can also use our omega-3 fatty acids from fish is another good source. Pretty much those are some of the basics. Same thing with steaks and whatnot. We don't want to do super fatty cuts, but enough. And then for dinner, again, it's going to all depend on how you do lunch. I also like to keep fruits in throughout the day, just make sure I'm getting enough fiber. If we get enough fiber in, it's going to help with digestion, and it's also going to help making sure we're flushing all the bad stuff out. And then overall, just making sure that you can do this day in and day out. And it should be so easy and repeatable that you don't have to think about it. Now we can add protein shakes in throughout the day if you need to get more protein in, or if you just want to have an extra feeding or snack, and that would look like a good protein source. We can talk about that in person. And then the rest is just going to come down to what you like to eat. If you're a veggie person, I've never been big on veggies, but making sure you're getting good veggies in, and the ones that you like to eat.